I got my forks apart on the RM125. This is kind of overview of all the parts that are in there. Wiper, seal, spacer, bushing, bottom compression. There's a little adjuster right there, but there's your valve right there. Doesn't look like this one has ever been re-valved or anything because they're still like the mushroom top right there is still pinged over, so it's never been apart. These go in the damping rods inside of the fork tubes inside of this. Got some aftermarket springs now. These are 43 Ebach 43. What we're going to do right now is pour out the valve. This is at the base valve at the bottom of the fork. And what we're going to do is drill out the little tiny holes right there. They're hard to see. I can get them on the camera. The small holes there, we're going to drill those out so that the more oil can flow through there. Back in '95 when I had an RM125, I sent my forks to R&D Racing, and the guy had a factory show, a guy from Japan, and this is exactly what he did. This is before the big gold valves and everything else came out. They just drilled these valves, more oil could flow through, and it made it a lot easier to ride. So here's what it looks like when we start, of course. The top of the valve has a peen on it, that little mushroom top right there. So we need to take that off so we can get everything apart here. It comes off really easy. Just a small file. Lay it down on the side. You just want to not get as much metal filing and junk as you can. And I find that you usually have to take it all the way down to the nut and get rid of all that factory peen, just mushrooms down the top of the bolt. And this one, it's a 10 millimeter. Got all the peen off. Shoot it off with some contact cleaner. A little burst of air, get it all cleaned off, keep all the metal shavings out of there, which was already off. I just wanted to get all those burrs off there. Take something, little screwdriver, put up in the middle. You can take and drop all the valving along with the nut, washers, everything right down on top of it, and that way you can keep the order. Set it down. This is the bottom valving. Keep all the compression on there. Separate that. This is what you want. See this indent on the valve? That goes up. See, there's on here, there is, well, there's a spring. This actually, this little piece right there fixed down in the indent with the nut, so that fits on the top of the valve. You get this cleaned up a little bit, and you kind of see the difference. It's not a huge, you can't really see a huge difference between the drilled and the not drilled. You get down here a little bit, but it does flow more oil, and that's what we're after. What we do, I just put a piece of wood on my workbench here, and then clamp it down. I like to do the bottom right there. It's a smaller side right there. The drill head fits in there a little nicer. Snug it down so it doesn't move around. Now after it being drilled, you can really see the difference. The top one's been drilled, and the one there at like 7 o'clock has not. So we can tell the difference, and that's what we're going to do the other two. And after you drill through the valve, you want to make sure that you didn't get any burrs or anything, any burrs along the top of the valve, because all the valving stack sits on top of that. So if there's a burr of any type, then the valving stack will sit off at an angle and it will not, well, it won't valve right. So the best thing to do is just set it down and take some real light sandpaper. This is 1500, so it's real light. Let's go over both sides. Make sure there's nothing on either side. And then you can take a look at it and make sure there's nothing on there. And it's imperative that you clean it. Contact cleaner and compressed air, get all of the debris and garbage out of there. So these are nice and perfectly clean, so that they assemble right and the oil flows through them correctly and is not hindered by any type of debris in there. Because if this has debris in it, of course it'll get into your valving and it'll throw everything off. It's really important on the bottom of the valve. There's two holes down this model, there and there. When you take off the peening, sometimes debris will get inside that hole right there, and it'll plug up that hole. So make sure you put some cleaner through there. It'll blow out these holes, and a compressed air to blow out all those holes. You want to keep this spotlessly clean. Let's go ahead and put the bottom of the valve back together. Here's all the shim packs. You can see all the different shims in there, different thicknesses. I'm going to try and get those all back on there in the same direction. I took them apart, which I shouldn't have done. So video, so it's a big fat shim on the bottom. And then the little ones. Valve, remember the recess goes up. And then top of the valve. And we'll make sure to get a little spring and this little cup cap over the top. You don't want to get it like wedged, because you can get it on top of the valve like that, and you want to make sure it gets down inside there. Usually I keep everything on the screwdriver and it just slides right on there, so you don't have a problem with the valving like I did this time. The only one left there is this little 10mm screw, or nut I should say. Do that, we gotta put some Loctite on there. And once again, we hit it with the contact cleaner. Get that nice and clean, no compressed air. What can happen is the valve, the valve shim pack will move around and then keep everything from going down. You just want to take it nice and slow. Make sure that the valves are not hanging up on anything. See how it can slide all the way down like that? That's what we want. So you want that nut back down nice and level where it was, because these valves can move over and get in the way of this pack moving around. So I wanted to make sure that everything is down and this ends up nice and flat and flush like it was when you took it all apart. One down, one to go. So after I got everything together, this bottom cone, the washer right here, should be able to move. Should be able to get it to move up. If it doesn't move and this nut isn't flush with the bottom of the valve, like we took it off, this washer right here has moved over underneath and is keeping this seat from going all the way down into the valve. So when you're done, you should be able to move around under the spring, the pressure of the spring, and this nut should be level with the valve. And then when you're done with the Loctite, hit it with the contact cleaner and compressed air.